Okay, multiplying polynomials. So this is the third page in your notes. Some of this stuff should be review, like these first few examples should be review just using the distributive property. So just a reminder, if I distribute that 6 to the 3 and to the 8, if I multiply 6 times 3, that gives me 18. 6 times 8 gives me 48. So I get 18x because the 3 had an x. 18x plus 48. So if I distribute b, if I distribute the 2 to the 5 and the 10, what will I get? 10x minus 20. How about if I distribute the negative 3? Remember, treat that like a negative. For that one, I should get negative 12x minus 27. And then how about the last one? Distribute the negative 2. You should get negative 2 times negative 9 is positive 18. Then negative 2 times negative 8 is positive 16. So do the your turns, and then you can continue to play the video. All right, so here's the new stuff when we're distributing a variable. Okay, so in example 1, we're going to distribute this 3x. And the only difference is you have to remember your power rules from last chapter. So when we distribute the 3x, we're going to multiply the 3 by the 4, and then we're going to do the exponent rules. If we have x times x, that actually gives us x squared. So we'll have 12x squared, and then if we do 3 times 5, that gives me 15, but the x goes along for the ride. So I'm going to distribute the negative 2 here, and let me know what you get. You should get negative 14x squared minus 8x. And then how about the last one? Distribute the x. You should get 6x plus 5x squared. Okay, now down here, there are no your turns, so let's just skip down here. Let's get a little bit fancier with this distributing. So I have the 4. I'm going to distribute the 4b to the 5b squared, the b, and the 6. I'm going to distribute it to everything. So let's start with 4b times 5b squared. What's that going to give me? Well, 4 times 5 is 20, and then b to the first times b squared is b to the third. Okay. Now let's do 4b times b. What's that going to give me? That's going to give me 4b squared. And now let's do 4b times 6. That's going to give me 24b. And there's your expression. Let's try b. Let's distribute the negative 4y squared. So negative 4y squared times 5y to the 4th. What's that going to give me? Negative 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. Then add the exponents. Let's do negative 4 times negative 3. So negative 4y squared times negative 3y squared. What will that give me? That'll give me positive, because a negative times a negative is a positive, positive 12y to the 4th. And now distribute that to the 2. And that should give you negative 8y squared. All right, with c, let's distribute the 6x squared. So 6x squared times 5x squared, what will that give you? Negative, actually that should be positive 30x to the 4th. Okay. 6x squared times 3x, what does that give you? That gives you 18x to the 3rd. And then 6x squared times negative 10. That gives you negative 60x squared. And then you can't combine any of those because all the exponents are different. All right, let's do d. So I'm going to distribute this 5x squared y, okay, all of this, to the 3x and the negative 2y. So let's start with 5x squared y to 3x. What will that, if I multiply those, what will that give me? That'll give me 15, because 5 times 3 is 15. X to the 3rd, add the exponents, and then the y just kind of goes along for the ride. Now let's do 5x squared y times negative 2y. What will that give me? That'll give me negative 10, because 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. x squared, because the x just kind of went with it, and then y times y squared will give me y to the third. Okay. And then the last one, I'm going to distribute this negative 4ab squared. Okay, so if I distribute negative 4ab squared to 6a to the third, what will that give me? That is actually going to give me negative 24 a to the fourth b squared, and then negative 4ab squared to negative 4b. That's going to give me positive 16ab to the third. Okay. So on the next page, go ahead and do the review problems, and then we will talk about the new problems. All right, multiplying binomials. Okay. When you're multiplying binomials, basically in D here, I'm going to multiply each of those terms by each of the terms in the second one. So we call it double distribution. Back on the previous page, you were just doing single distribution where you were only distributing one thing. Here we're going to do double distribution. So what we're going to do is we're going to distribute the x to everything in the second set of parentheses. So we're going to take the first term, distribute that to everything in the second set. Let's just focus on that for now. So x times x, what's that going to give you? It's going to give me x squared, and then x times 4 is 4x. Now I'm going to distribute the 2. Okay. So I'm going to do 2 times x and 2 times 4. What's 2 times x going to give me? It's going to be 2x, and then 2 times 4 is 8. And now let's clean this up. Do you see any like terms that you can combine? You can combine the 4x and the 2x, and that gives you 6x, because 4 plus 2 is 6. Everything else stays the same. Let's do this one more time just so you can see it. So I'm going to start by distributing the x. Okay. X times x, what will that give me? It gives me x squared, and then x times 1 is going to give me x. Now let's distribute the 5. 5 times x, what's that going to give me? 5x, and then 5 times 1 is 5. Now clean it up. Combine your like terms. What can you combine? I'm going to combine the x and the 5x. So my final answer is x squared, and then I combine those to 6x, and then plus 5. So go ahead and do the your turns, and then we will go over these answers tomorrow in class.